All right. Another episode today. Do we have things a bit more open today, you feel?
Yes.
Perhaps a bit mix of things today.
But one focus could be something like man and nature, somehow how they interrelate. And for instance, I'm very much into the possibility of communicating with plants, without words but with energies or something like that. And also you talked about totem animals and how we can meet animals in dreams and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so for you then, when it comes to plants, what is the meaning behind, or how come that you started off with this kind of communication?
Well, I'm not sure why I started, but it's more like yeah. Now I remember. It has to do with my fascination with consciousness, and there is one view of consciousness that is called panpsychism, and that means that that's a theory stating that consciousness, you can find it in everything, like the stones and the animals, humans and plants, and but it's in varying degrees, you could say. And I don't know, this is very hard to prove, obviously, but one way of examining it is, I think, to try to communicate with plants, because like with animals you can like if you meet a dog, you feel instantly that this dog is conscious, I guess, like it has consciousness, even though it can't talk, but if you look at a plant, it seems almost like dead, but well, I mean, it has life, but it doesn't seem conscious, right?
Exactly, because there's this certain degree of reaction that you can get from animals per se.
Yes, yeah.
It's not the same level or dimension with plants, right?
No, they don't respond very obviously to your approach.
Yeah. But is it possible, do you believe, that you can sense a sort of happy energy from a plant?
Well, yeah, I think you can. I think it has to do with your level of sensitivity, and like you have to work on yourself, I think, to be able to communicate with the plants. You have to purify your mind, or whatever you want to call it, like so.
Because if I see a plant that hasn't gotten any water for like weeks or months, even, it usually hangs, it looks kind of sad, or even broken down almost. Leaves falling off perhaps, and starting to get like these almost diseased colors almost.
Sure,
after a while.
Yeah.
So, and if you give it nurture, proper watering, the right kind of environment for it to grow, slowly you start seeing that kind of change in the plants. And I think that a reaction from plants and trees and nature itself, it's a much more slower reaction than what you can usually see in an animal.
Sure, yeah. If you give it water, it will still take hours or days.
Yeah, exactly.
To see the change. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's something that is quite fascinating, and if you truly observe and take your time, as a listener as well here in the podcast, to really take a good look at your plants and like feel them almost, and see the difference, changes of color perhaps through seasons, So I think it's quite true actually, that we see changes, but they're much more slower, and they do give you reactions and indications of new times ahead.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a different time scale with the plants. This is so obvious when you look at what you call it when you film time lapse. You know, when you shoot a few images every hour and speed it up, and
Yeah.
you can see like the plants stretching to reach something, or you know, fighting with its neighbors or whatever. it's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
And then it's quite obvious that they are reacting and communicating in different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually there are one plant called mimosa something.
Okay.
And it's very funny because it has leaves stretching out like this on the side, and if you brush the leaves with your finger, it will instantly like fold the leaves together and bend the branch down. So like very quickly. So this is very easy to notice with your eyes. Like
almost sounds like a bowing movement or something. Like
Yeah,
it bows down almost.
Well, no.
Is it a greeting movement or?
But it's not the stem. The entire plant isn't bowing.
No.
It's just like the arms, so the branches you
so
could
it
say.
kind of closes down, or?
Yeah. It could be like it's stretching out this arm first, like this, happy plant, and then it protects itself.
Yeah. So maybe not kind of not much of a social plant, perhaps.
No, it's a bit shy.
Yeah, a bit shy, perhaps. Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So what kind of connections have you gotten with the plants, or what kind of plants have you tried with, or tried to connect with in life so far?
Yeah, I started with this. This is for me. It started as an art project, and I've been doing it for a couple of years now, like maybe 5-6 years, I think. And one of the more memorable plants, I think, was there was a cashew tree in India.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I tried to approach it. I did some meditation first, and then I went over to the tree and started to like feel the leaves and to look at it. And unfortunately, there was some sort of ant's nest in the tree. The leaves they had the ants had they had made a nest from the leaves and glued them together. And as soon as I started to touch the tree, they attacked me. You know, so they came down on the ground and bit my toes and. Yeah, they were all over, so I couldn't focus.
Oh, okay, I see.
But I mean, I'm trying to do this like with a very open mind, and so I would interpret this attack of the ants. You know, this is also some kind of communication from nature or from the tree, basically, because the ants and the tree are working together. So in some way, the ants are like an extension of the tree, I think. Like it's the army of the tree, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's like they're connected with the nervous system somehow.
Yeah. I imagine if there's consciousness in the tree, which I think.
Yeah.
Then it would the ants would be conscious too and very aware of the consciousness of the tree. So they would communicate on that level, I guess.
Because they live so close to each other. And maybe they have a good deal, you know. The tree gives them, you know, fruits or cashews, you know, and they defend the tree.
Yeah, some sort of exchange.
Give and take situation there. Yeah.
They are very useful for the ants to live in the leaves of the tree, I think. And, I'm not quite sure exactly how it works, but maybe the tree is giving them food as well.
Yeah, and it really sounds like a natural sort of connection.
Yeah, for sure. This is a sort of collaboration you can see in nature. With also there's something called aphids, bloodless in Swedish.
Okay. Yeah.
And they eat from plants, and also the ants, they will come and like milk these aphids.
Okay.
So they have the plant, these bugs, and the ants working together somehow.
Ah, okay. All right.
But well, this is a very spiritual project for me, and so it's not only focusing on material realities, like if I touch the tree, the ants will bite me, but also I'm trying to get a connection on a more spiritual level. Well, so far it has been difficult, I think. I don't know why. I met people. I had a teacher, a woman in Sweden. We went out together, and she could like. We sat down with some very ancient plant in the forest. Lummer in Swedish. I don't know in English.
Yeah.
And well, I had some sort of positive feeling, but I didn't get any visuals sort of. But she told me afterwards that she could see like almost like small creatures or small men running around, and this is some sort of spirits of nature, I suppose. And they were quite funny, so she was laughing about them, and so I guess that's you have to work on your sensitivity, and I also hear that not everyone sees these creatures, but you could just as well just see some bright light or some well, and maybe you don't get any visuals, but you get some strange feeling in your body, or some very unexpected thoughts going through your head. And all of this could be like the interaction between you and the plant. So I haven't had any really breathtaking experiences, but still I find it very interesting, and I'm gonna keep on doing it. And also I think if you would legalize cannabis in Sweden, I think there's big potential to if you would take some cannabis. I tried that before, and then you get very much more sensitive to experiences that seems almost ridiculous in your normal consciousness. But I remember I sometimes have become very fascinated with animals or things or plants when I'm intoxicated, and you're so certain that there is a spiritual connection, and you could feel this object or like a plant talking to you.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah. It's a whole other level of consciousness that is gained from both the psilocybin or even cannabis, as you said as well. I noticed a huge difference with my own sensitivity.
Yeah. And this is so apparent when you're out in nature. I mean, I suspect that if you're indoors, you will have a totally different experience, because your senses are not stimulated in the same way. So it could almost be like a bad trip, I guess, if you're inside in a place you don't feel so happy about.
Even gain memories of fear, even.
If it's
kind of rough visions, I think.
Sure, and also, I mean, if you're in a strange house to you, maybe that happened something negative in this house, and you will pick up on that, sort of, if your sensitivity gets heightened.
Yeah. Memories and feelings get more intense, and I believe that if a person is fighting the sensation or the visions that are being fed to them, I think that it becomes much more of a severe case if you're trying to struggle against it instead of open up, and accept.
Sure, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been taking cannabis a few times when I've been with other people in like a social situation, and it's always been too much for me because then I get very sensitive about the sort of the intention of the other person, and I get sort of paranoid when I'm with people. So that's why I'm very interested in trying to take cannabis out in nature, and because nature never asks anything of you. It doesn't have any expectations. So then it's a much more relaxed interaction, I think. And then you can pick up this very subtle like notes from the plants.
Yeah. It's funny you said that plants don't have expectations.
Yeah.
And do you feel like they perhaps have intention?
Well, yeah, in some sort of way, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then I think it's fairly possible that they might have some sort of expectation as well.
Yeah, well, maybe
or goal even.
Yeah. Yes, I think that could be true, but what I mean is that you don't feel pressured by the plant. It's very would you say?
Live and let live situation.
Yeah. Well, maybe the plant has some intentions for you, but they are so subtle, so you don't feel stressed.
Yeah.
But if you're with a person who wants something from you, you can pick it up very easily, right?
Yeah, or feel pushed even.
Sure. Yeah. So the plants, sure. It's interesting you say, because there's one way of seeing like wheat and our food stock. Like we are growing the wheat, but maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the wheat is using us to colonize the world. That's a funny thought, I think. Because it's true in a way, isn't it? Wheat is very successful in growing everywhere. So maybe that's the wheat's intention. Yeah. So I think if cannabis would be legalized, then we could go out in nature and not be paranoid because the law is chasing you either, because that's a big like downside now, that to do this work you have to feel very safe and relaxed, I think so. So
when you said expectation, or when I even ask you about intentions of plants, in an earlier podcast I talked about my experience with the mushroom Amanita muscaria, and my first sort of connection with the mushroom on a more personal depth. I was passing one by actually, and it was a certain mushroom, a certain specimen, or exactly that kind of mushroom, or exactly that mushroom that spoke to me. The others didn't,
Right.
It was a certain, specimen, or
one of many.
Yeah, one of many, yeah, and just one as well. And that time I was too afraid to to pick it up. I had so much respect of it, and even weird sort of learned fears from it.
Yeah. People tell you that it's poisonous.
Yeah, super poisonous. You're stupid, if you pick that mushroom, or you're this and that,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a deep seated emotion.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get from
exactly. So
society.
yeah, so I started like second guessing myself, and the fear took the best of me. So I just walked away and was very confused, you know, because one side of me was like, turn back, pick that mushroom now, eat it, it's time, you know. And the other side was like the fear side. I listened way too much more on my fear that day. So I just like hurried to my car, you know. Yeah. And that is when I during that podcast I also mentioned like ravens as well laughing at me and stuff. So it was kind of an emotional day for me, but it was also like a really fast and or kind of I have a really sturdy memory of it, you know. So when you talked about plant connection, I certainly have that connection as well with the mushrooms or certain plants as well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can really feel what you're trying to explain. Yeah.
Sure. It's also like it has to do with allowing yourself to feel that this communication is true. That it takes a certain amount of courage, I guess, or faith, maybe.
Yeah.
So when this mushroom was communicating to you, it's obviously that you chose to view it as real. No?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but then you were scared by society's rules, and
yeah.
I mean that's not so strange, right? If you
Yeah.
if someone says that you're gonna die if you eat the mushroom, you probably wouldn't eat it.
It's quite normal to second guess then. I feel. But it was way more, you know, kind of fixation of my own ego and mind.
Yeah.
At that time, because yeah. No, but exactly as you said, like you gotta allow yourself to open up on that certain level of communication, and I would say that you have to go from an like ego state of mind into a more open, kind of holistic consciousness or universal consciousness in order to be able to connect with the plants.
Sure. Yeah. You have to be a bit out of your stream of thoughts. I think like.
Yeah.
You have to like be. That's why meditation is useful, because it will quiet down this internal chatter you have in your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then still there will be thoughts drifting around, but you can see them for what they are like.
Yeah.
So that's a good state.
Yeah. Because truly you're merely a observer of your own thoughts and mind, right?
Yeah.
Not the other way around. It's not your thoughts and like those impulses that if you always like listen to those like type of fears or anxieties or depressional kind of feelings, you know, it's gonna take the best of you, you know, and it's gonna bring you down, and it's gonna hold you there, you know, in that little comfortable fear zone, you know.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you realize that even the worst emotions you have, they're just built up by those thought patterns, and they are not you, basically. You can leave them behind.
Yeah, it's kind of a tiny particles, even, you know, snowballing up, you know, with different thoughts and emotions, and it can really spin out of control, guys. So
yeah, it is. It's so easy to forget this truth that these thoughts are not you, but you can have this insight and still forget it, and you feel you get really depressed sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's why I like to read these spiritual books, like from Indian saints, like Ramana Maharshi, for example. You just read a few lines and then you're reminded, yeah, right, I don't have to do this stupid nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. I noticed the more, you know, for me being an ENFP as well, having these constant ideas and mind patterns and, you know, all that depth of emotion, almost like a turmoil inside some days, you know. It's extremely hard to quiet myself down
Sure.
almost. So it's like I'm on the highway some days, just continuing and doing what I do, and I have a hard time to hold up or wait for a while, and sort things through, you know.
Mm.
And plant connection, and even animism, dreams, these intuitive ways of both esoteric knowledge and these ancient texts, you know, that you have been talking about, or it really helps to, for me at least, to quiet down that turmoil inside, to be able to listen on a whole new consciousness level.
Sure.
Because when that happens, when you get to that harmonized, balanced state of mind and emotion, it's like you get a little sort of, in my case, at least personal case, it's like I get these sort of small energy tingles or particles flying around, or even intentions or feelings from other people are like more clearly.
You can read them.
Yeah, it's much more clearly, and I feel at ease. I feel more calm. I don't react as bad as I usually do, you know, if I'm on the high wire, you know. So it's quite interesting how it works. But for me, in my case, I'm working on being able to calm down more.
Yeah, I suppose when you're out in nature a lot and taking images and putting on your Instagram, very nice images and text as well. But I wonder, when you go out in nature like that, is it one part of it is to find your inner stillness, or to, is it? Like,
Definitely. Those days have really helped me. It's I think it's up in like, I think around 2,000 photographs and around 2,000 unique moments.
Yeah, it's and every you date them with like you number them by the days, isn't it?
Yeah, by the day, by the day. Just number them randomly by the day. And today I've noticed that some texts or some photographs have been banned from my Instagram account.
No, really?
Because they're too sensitive or like too dark, or
oh, wow.
So
that messes up your numbering, doesn't it?
Yeah, that messes up the numbering. but today I don't care. So I just say like, this is the day, and I'll just continue with the proper date. You know, the day. You know? And even though it's like some rooms in between, then I know like, okay, these things, like these sections have been banned and disappeared. It's okay. I still have them, you know.
In a way, it's interesting because then you can see exactly what they took.
Exactly.
More or less.
So right now I'm analyzing how Instagram and Facebook or YouTube even works when it comes to sensitive material. You know, it's really hypocrisy.
It's so stupid.
It's really stupid.
Even our talks we do here now with the podcast, maybe who knows what they will cut away.
YouTube will definitely censor out many things. You know.
But your account, anyway, it's grinding magic, isn't it?
Exactly.
So if the listeners want to check it out, it's
there. My Instagram account is I think it's called Stormgast.
Yes.
And the name Grinding Magic for me is a sort of intuitive connection, and how I got that word was actually from many years of experiencing my own dreams and wanting to, what's it called, like bridge them to reality.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
connection.
So it's like some days it's really grind for me, a real grind, you know.
A grind would be like some negative
it's
thing.
harsh work, you know, or like rough days, you know.
Sure, yeah. I get
Yeah,
that.
but it's still for achieving that sort of level of magic or consciousness, you know.
It's for
me.
higher purpose. You're
Yeah,
grinding away
yeah,
at
yeah,
life.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
So that was my old studio as well. But I right now I just like took a pause from everything with that, but that studio or that mindset is still there, you know.
You mean studio in making
create-
computer games?
yeah, in computer games, or even like for me as a creative director, I feel like I don't need to have an own studio, you know, in order to have that mindset, grinding magic, you know. And first I thought that I had to connect it to some sort of materialistic way, you know, have my own studio, my own work, you know,
company
place,
maybe.
yeah, company, you know, that sort of mindset. But I noticed that it's not the way at all for me, so I just cut the cord there, you know.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it's the brand new world today as well,
Yeah,
right? With
yeah.
the internet and
Yeah.
all the ways you can express yourself.
Yeah. It was like more like a fail attempt for me for trying to brand myself, my feelings or who I am, you know. It didn't work out, so I totally regret that. And I went back to having grinding magic as it is, but just continuing, you know, along with the photographs, nature, my poetry, and the writing, the
And
creativity.
You have a quite a following, I think, and I mean, who knows if this maybe becomes a company in the future, but
Yeah, maybe.
if it happens, it happens. And
Yeah, if it happens like naturally, I feel.
Yeah,
but
it's not like you're striving for anything. You're just putting your creativity out there and get response. And
yeah. So
it's a good feeling. I
in Swedish, stormgast is meant to be some sort of a ghost in a storm, almost. Yeah. Or a storm ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you translate or trying to pronounce it somehow, but yeah.
Sort of an agitated spirit, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Because
blowing around.
Yeah, exactly. Because some of the insights I get is from actually a frustrated feeling. Actually.
Yeah.
So I'm being like frustrated with society or how things have turned out. You know. I vent a lot of shit. You know. Sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah. Instagram, stormgast, just as it sounds. Storm, and then gast, Gast. Yeah, just one word. And yeah. So you said followers. I don't know how many followers I have, like, but a couple of thousand, I think, that are curious, you know, reading my thought process and checking out my photographs and yeah.
I think so. A lot of reactions, maybe. A couple of hundreds. I suppose.
Yeah, it's really fun to read some days, you know, during some hard days, you know, of grinding, you know, or working away, and you have like men and women like trying to connect with you and just saying that, like me and my one woman in particular, like her and her husband in the United States woke up every morning and just looking forward to some of my random texts, you know, and just reading in the morning, you know, before work, you know, and gaining insight and stuff like that. So that was a really warming, you know, and humble experience.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Sure. It's yeah.
Yeah, so I get great feedback and I get bad feedback as well, but mostly the bad stuff I get is usually like, oh, sensitive material, or like this is something that almost
people are offended somehow.
Offended, yeah, exactly, yeah. It's a kind of a harsh way of saying or enlightening the dark paths sometimes, because I enlighten many shadow aspects of the human psyche. Such as greed, you know, harm, or like why people want to harm another person, perhaps, or like more darker sides as well.
Yeah. It's interesting because we spoke before we started about the personality types we have. I'm INTJ and you're ENFP.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this, how you would approach your creativity. You said that you put your darker sides or your like what you don't appreciate, frustrations and stuff like that into your art, and I think that's a strong motivational force, and I recognize it in myself because I've studied art and I worked as an artist sometimes. For me as well, I often put my frustrations and anger and desperation like in my work.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel it hasn't been such a positive thing, you know, and I think maybe that has to do with our different personalities, because you told me about maybe well I also said that when I studied art I was into becoming like the world's most visual artist, like I could take in everything with my eyes and translate it into images, and I was sort of obsessed by this. And you said that for my personality type, this is that's my inferior function to do this, and it's not good for my well-being, sort of. Was it?
Maybe I said to you that like there's INTJ artists out there in the world.
But they feel shit.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but in your case that was it. But maybe there's some INTJ that has found out that there's also light to the darkness, perhaps. You know, so it's a sort of a healing experience. In my case, at least, it's much more of a balance between the shadow and the light side. Because sometimes it's really true, just as you said, like you feel like shit, or as many people call the rebel gene. Like you have this little gene, like a rebellish kind of frustration, and you want to strike back at society for being such an asshole, you know. But frankly, it's just like saying like taking in all these kind of frustrations and transform them into something.
Something outspoken, something concrete, at least.
Yeah. And many people talk about, like some friends in like from the artist side of life is warning me about, like, be very careful what you manifest and be very conscious about it. And don't put out too much bad energy, you know, or shadow or dark stuff, you know. And I've been thinking about that a lot, but only manifesting light, you know, doesn't work for me. It does not work for me at all, because I don't.
You could have only kittens.
Yeah, exactly.
Fluffy kittens.
Yeah. It's going to be hell doing that. So for me, it's more sort of like an honest approach, I would say, because I can't just smile and be happy all the time, you know.
No, it's horrible.
Kittens. Yeah. So it's like, even though I feel shit, it's like, yeah, let's post this cute kitten. Like,
yeah, it's a lie.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. The kitten is a lie. There is no kitten.
So, but when you have done the post for today, what's the basic feeling you have? Is it like relief, or is it like you keep still some negative emotions?
Yeah. Right now I haven't, like, soon. I haven't posted on my Instagram account for 1 month now.
Oh, really?
So I took like a...
It's a holiday.
Yeah, kind of a holiday, because I got my other creative projects within the gaming industry. So, but right now I feel like I'm going to take more photographs and go out in nature and really connect the female to the nature more as well. So I'm looking for more models, of course.
I mean female models.
Yeah.
Who would join you in nature photography.
And male models as well.
Right.
But right now, the beginning of this project is connecting the female and the natural strengths of the female force and connect that with nature, and get the sort of sensational, mother nature and the birth of all things, the start of all things, and the sort of source, or even the sirens, or what do you call, even the muses of creativity, to honor those female aspects of life and creativity.
Right.
Yeah, and I would like to draw parallels with the female womb and moss and roots and growth in nature. And I have some, like, to give you guys a sneak peek. It's like imagining having like this dramatic scenery of both like ancient forests, and you have like tons and tons of women growing from the ground and up, rising above.
Okay.
Yeah. So both, some are growing from mud, some are growing from the grass, some are growing from the moss beneath the stones, some are coming out from the trees, from the bark.
Sure.
And many sides of life. So yeah.
This reminds me a lot of what I've been reading about communicating with nature, and
interesting.
Yeah, like every tree, for example, has its own spirit, sort of making sure that the energies and the fluids and everything are pumping up and down in the trunk of the tree, sort of pumping it, and maybe there are some creatures at the root doing some work there.
Yeah.
It's maybe this women you're describing could be this sort of spirits of nature.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's in a way they are the mothers of nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of
Yeah.
giving birth to these processes.
Yeah. It's a beautiful vision and beautiful connection that I've felt with different models who talk about their own kind of history with nature, and why they love to live close to nature, for instance, compared to the big concrete jungle in the cities, and some of the more wild-hearted, intuitive women that I met in life and talked about is like really honoring this project and wants to support me in the photographs, and and the poetry of the writing, and growth and strength, the female strength, I would say. And I think society-wise, it's a good inspiration and motivation, I feel, to strengthen that female side, the genuine and motherhood side of life.
Yeah, it's important. And to get the alternative sort of stories and images about the female. And the male as well, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. That's the next step for me, the male counterpart. Yeah. So, and then the third line for me is making the connection of the male and the female's symbiosis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. So this project is gonna live on for a while, it seems.
Yeah, it's gonna take years and years, I feel, for me, because I have to connect and travel to Japan. One of my dreams. One of my dreams is also connecting and traveling to India.
Yeah, maybe we will do that together.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, we talked about checking off India.
Yeah. Maybe we can keep the podcast going when we're traveling.
Yeah, definitely.
Could be cool.
Yeah. Even though we're in India, perhaps we're gonna make a podcast over there for you guys as well to listen to.
The problem would be to find a quiet place where we're not
undisturbed. Yeah. It's gonna be quite chaotic, I feel, but it's gonna be a great experience also.
Yeah.
And Vietnam as well. So.
About censorship and Instagram, I just found out a funny thing also, that because a while back we discussed we should do a parody on Fjällräven.
This
This Swedish brand of clothes, which are very expensive and fancy.
Yeah.
And so I had an account called Fjällräven, which would be like the mountain asshole or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I put up some sort of should I say?
Some more like a troll thing, or more like a joking kind of funny thing.
Yeah, a satire. Funny,
yeah, a satire. Yeah.
So I had two images. There was one I found two lions mating. You could see the male lion from behind, sort of going, and then I put the logotype on the side. And the other image was like it was a beautiful landscape with the snowy mountains.
Yeah.
And there was a really nice picture of a female, her butt. So,
yeah.
And the logotype also.
So perfect.
Yeah, and I forgot about it, and then I checked it out the other day, and it was totally gone from from the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I suppose you can't do whatever you like.
No, of course. So it's like really bannable content that we put out sometimes.
Yeah, but you don't know what they're gonna react at. Sure.
Yeah.
And there was something else. I forgot it now.
Oh, I know. Now I know. Yeah. Wow. That was also sensitive stuff.
Yeah, we had another account on Instagram.
Yep. And was that banned too?
No, it's still there, I think.
Yeah.
It's but I lost the password, so I can't do anything.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah, this is so bad we can't even say what it is on this podcast.
Yeah, it's more satire stuff and
or maybe
joking around with stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but
maybe in another episode perhaps.
Yeah,
like more extreme episode.
It's
perhaps.
a cliffhanger for later.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I know now that many listeners will be like, "Oh, say it! Oh my God, say it!" Yeah, but we're not gonna censor ourselves here. It's just that we're gonna leave that to another episode.
Yeah,
a more extreme episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So in this case, we talked about the plants, the connections of nature, consciousness. We went through with the different sides of our own projects, and so a little bit of my side stuff as well, or creative projects that I've always been like working on in life, with that has close to connection to what we're talking about here, and yeah, we were talking about naming this nature, beast, and man, this episode.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And now it's over to the next part with animal connection.
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah.
It's
about time.
Yeah, it's another kind of a part of this podcast. And before we go into this more, I think it's time for a short break.
Yeah, sounds good.
And we will continue afterwards. So see you guys soon.
Yeah, you need to learn to post and drop.
Post and drop, yeah.
At least if you have a lot of big following.
Yeah.
And, but still, it's interesting with your Instagram account. You have quite a big following, but I suspect you don't get many bad comments.
No,
well, you said a few, maybe, right?
Yeah, just a few.
It's not overwhelming.
No, it's like 90% positive for me.
Yeah.
So, but at this moment, like around, what is it, 5,000, 6,000 followers, perhaps? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. So at this moment, I listen to the bad ones as well.
Yeah, you can manage.
Yeah.
And from what you said, it's mostly like they feel that you're being too open with your like you're writing too negative stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Subjects.
Yeah. So that's a fear in me that I sort of when that is being picked up, like, oh, that's bad or that's negative. I think that sometimes the dark sides can really shine or spread some light as well.
Yeah, it's not good to put it away or hide it.
Yeah, I think it's like if you make the dark or if you make the shadow conscious or like bring that to your front of the head, you know, like your eye, so to speak. Yeah, make it more like available to you and like open it up. It's then I feel like the fear disappears almost for me.
Right.
So yeah, but I sort of feel like I have a sort of balance still. You know, if it's dark or if I throw negative energy or like dark stuff out, I feel like it's more like a cry out sometimes, or like of my own experienced pain somehow, what I've gone through in life as well.
Yeah, it's deeply personal, but
yeah, exactly.
But still, when I look at your work, it's also universal in a way. Like you can read it. You don't feel like it's Kristoffer complaining, sort of. If you see what I mean, it's it's and you write sort of poetically, or like some old saga from what you call it, the Scandinavian mythology or something like that. Yeah, so.
The Edda, or almost like Kusur or Edda, or what's it called? Like Icelandic stave poems, the old poems.
Yeah, ancient poems from Iceland and Norway and
in Sweden as well.
What do they call asar? What's that in English?
I think it's only called like Asatru or something in English as well.
Yeah, I suppose like Thor and Odin and these are famous now because of this action hero movies like Thor with a hammer. Yeah. He's a Scandinavian god.
Yeah. I think like mostly in the US and England, they usually call it Norse mythology.
Norse, yeah.
Yeah, Norse, almost. Yeah, so.
Sure.
But yeah.
So anyway, we get back to the subject of the animals now.
Yeah. It's time to jump into animism and shamanic animal totems in life. In my case, or in my life, I've always walked close by my totem animals, or even like hand in hand sometimes it feels like.
Can I ask, have you been encouraged your whole life to listen to this sort of what you call it, messages from nature or dreams?
Yeah, from my mother. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I always felt that creativity and connection with nature and animals from my mother and father even. Even though I haven't like really met my father or known him, but we spoke from time to time on the phone, and we were all about, you know, creating stuff, more handcraft, you know, with the knives and, you know, bone craft and old-fashioned crafting stuff. And with my mother it was the creativity of the music, animals and nature.
Yeah
My mother was like, what do you say, like more of a typical case of like, what's it called, like the 70s or 80s hippies, or what do you say?
Yeah,
hippie,
part of the hippie culture.
Yeah, flower power more. She loves flower power and
sort of a liberation and doing what you
but
you call it. Right, I think that's because I suppose most children have a strong feeling of this animism and this connection.
Yeah.
With nature, and if like in your case, if it's nurtured and supported,
yeah,
you can keep it intact, like when you grow up as well.
Yeah, that's what happened in my case, because I feel like animals can teach you just as much as any other person can.
Right.
Yeah. So just by just as you said, like listening with like an open mind and spirit, I would say, and not having that ego attached, or fear, or like worries, or like that if it's too clouded in your head when you're communicating with animals, I feel like the animals becomes confused of you, even, and it some sort of creates a conflict, even, or fear, or fear of intention, like you can't read each other because it's too much turmoil in the head, almost. Right. So then it's just a basic survival instinct of fear and hurt, almost. So I got many of those connections actually when I was a child, really, because I wanted to do so much, and I wanted to express myself so much. I still do today, but it's we had like a this case of this special dog that my what's it called in Swedish, dog mama.
Say. Like there's the lady who looks after you when you're a child.
Yeah.
I don't know what you could say in English.
It's not like a foster mother. It's like of course I grew up with my own mother, but it's like during some days when my grandmother was away and mother was away working and stuff, I went
nanny,
to,
could you say?
Exactly. Yeah. I had this nanny actually, who took care of me, and we had a great connection. She was really funny, like old tribe mother almost.
Sure.
And she had many dogs, many dogs, and it started out with connecting with each of the dogs, and I noticed that I was irritated with some of the dogs, I was happy with some of the dogs, and I felt calm with some dogs, and I felt uneasy with some of the dogs.
Yeah.
And I noticed all their different personalities, and I was around 4 years old, I think, or even like I wasn't that old, but one time I was so happy to actually seeing one of the dogs when I got to my nanny, and this dog, like during this day, it wasn't, I don't know if the dog like had woken up on the wrong side or something, because that dog was pissed.
Right.
So, and me just being happy seeing the dog because I had a good relationship with the dog, a week earlier, it wasn't a good day this day.
Right.
So I started greeting and just like almost like running towards the dog, and the dog was fearful and just said like no play today. So it just like almost bitch slapped me and just walked right over me, and it was a heavy dog. So I got kind of hurt, and I was like really fearful, started crying, because I got just like bitch slapped and just walked over by a dog, and the dog didn't care for me.
Yeah.
And I noticed like later in life, learning that I was not out to read the dog's current state of mind. I didn't care. I just cared of my own happiness, and I was glad or happy that day.
You didn't pick up the signals from the dog.
Yeah, exactly. So that turned out bad that day. But
it's a good lesson, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So it started up with many of those connections, like learning about boundaries.
Yeah.
And connections with different animals when I was little. I had not only connections with dogs, but cats as well.
Yeah.
And it was a similar case there. Cats, not that big, not that heavy, but damn sharp claws. So,
yes.
But yeah, and then I transformed into connecting more with turtles. So I got like 2 turtles when I was quite young as well.
Mm.
And I had lizards as well.
What sort of lizard?
Lizards.
Small.
It was quite small, but they could grow quite big. It was like a larger species of gecko.
Gecko, oh,
yeah.
the one that climbed everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one species that was my absolute favorite was the joy and happiness of seeing a leopard gecko smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
So it's smiling lizard.
Yeah, if you guys search for a leopard gecko, just Google it perhaps and smiling gecko or smiling leopard gecko. It's it's terrific.
Is it like it doesn't smile all the time, but certain times it will smile?
Yeah, I think it's a certain angle of the mouth. Sometimes in different perspectives, it looks like it's always giving that sort of happy grin.
Sure.
Like yeah.
Well, that's a good quality. You always feel happy when you see the gecko.
Yeah, or even when I had a harsh day, in school, I got home, I started playing some games, and I had this, I had 2, so I had 2 leopard geckos running around like over my keyboard when I played computer games.
Yeah, you let them out when you were at home.
Yeah, and they were just checking me out and just, quite relaxed, and I had a little bath for them on the side, and I had like another bowl of like sand when I had them more mobile, so to speak, and not in their big terrarium or aquarium. What do you call it? Yeah. So in this case, it was a really good connection with those geckos and the turtles as well. As a kid,
also like amphibians and snakes and reptiles.
Yeah, reptiles was a huge thing for me when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I know many people are scared of reptiles, but it's interesting. But I think it's like both of us enjoy them. I get so happy when I see like a snake in Sweden.
Yeah,
a wild
same.
snake.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, but I also loved the connection of snakes when I was little as well. But I had a more profound respect for snakes.
Because they're poisonous.
Yeah, maybe more that society side of fear, or
you're told that they're dangerous.
Basically. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But, because it's only the viper in Sweden, the hugon, it's a poisonous one, and still it's not so bad. It's like the wasp sting, I think, or a little bit worse. But it's not like you die or anything like that.
No.
Sweden is a very good country because basically nothing will kill you in nature.
Yeah.
Animal wise.
Yeah.
Except for the ticks, maybe.
Yeah, smaller.
The small ticks.
Yeah.
It's not like Australia where they have these poisonous spiders and poisonous snakes and everything is just able to kill you if you don't watch out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then that fear and warning is more profound and more like genuine and true, I feel.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
Yeah, and of course you have that respect then, but in this case it's more like a sort of unnecessary fear that I've been feeling, and that unnecessary fear was basically holding me back from getting new connections and gaining new wisdom or insights in life. And that's a good thing to have, guys, because it's if your fear is unnecessary and the worries or anxiety, it's more realizing that and accepting that to go out of the comfort zone and really discover new things in life. It's great. So I always loved turtles, for instance, when I was a kid.
Right.
But I also got told that like some turtles, they are poisonous, or even dangerous, watch out, or...
Really? I never heard that. It's interesting that people would
like,
say that.
Yeah, it's like my grandmother or mother, like, don't put your finger near the mouth, because it's they have this sharp beak,
Right.
Yeah, and
some sort of bacteria maybe.
Salmonella or something like bad bacteria in here. But anyway, the point was that it's like and it was sort of like an overreacted fear
Yeah, throat
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
I got this with the if you find a feather. When I was a kid, I was always told that you shouldn't touch this feather because they're beautiful. So as a kid, as an adult as well, you want to pick it up and bring it home or something. But then I was told that this is a lot of bacteria and it's you're gonna get sick if you touch it even.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's been sticking with me for a while. But I don't know if it's true, but I don't mind picking up the feathers nowadays.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What do you think? Do you think it's?
I think it's like a learned sort of fear.
Nothing to it. Yeah, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not bad. Yeah.
But I think it's more a case of people being too careful, being overreacting of fear and.
This is
yeah.
quite Swedish too. We're very security minded in this country. Everything should be very safe.
Yeah.
To the extreme.
Yeah. Maybe we have so many, of that sort of personality.
Which one would that be? Like the censors?
Yeah, censor guardians and yeah.
Conservative minded, keep things the way they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was always fascinated by turtles when I was a kid, and at one birthday I actually got two.
What sort of turtles did you?
It was the classic turtles, from Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles when I was a kid.
It was Mutant Turtles.
Yeah, exactly. The Ninja Turtles.
They ate pizza and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I imagined, but
What size of turtles? Small, I suppose.
I got them when they were small.
Yeah, a few centimeters, huh?
Yeah, a few centimeters, and they grew up to astounding 40 centimeters almost.
Wow, with the head and tail and everything.
Yeah, it took years. But they outgrew the aquarium I had.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a big one, on 6,000 liters or something. It was huge. It was taking up half my room.
Yeah. But they call it a terrarium, I think, right? Because it wasn't water all the way. It was sort of sand and a little water maybe, but...
No, it was... these were water turtles.
Oh, so they lived underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an aquarium.
Yeah. So, exactly. So...
Nice. They could also have fishes, I suppose, swimming around, but then the turtles would eat the fish.
Yeah. If I got to decide, I would get two more. So I had the whole setup for turtles, like the four famous artists, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the ones I got was named Michelangelo and Raphael. So orange and red turtle. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if they sold a lot of turtles back then when the Ninja Turtles were fashionable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Turtles was a thing back then. Yeah.
It was a good pitch.
Yeah.
I have this mug which I love to drink coffee from. It's with all the turtles, turtles on it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So,
And there was also a rat called Shredder, I think, and.
No, that's not the.
A reporter or female reporter.
No, Shredder was the bad guy. The bad ninja.
Yeah, sure, but he was in the series, sort of, as a character.
Yeah. But the rat was called Sprinter.
Sprinter.
Yeah.
But there was a Shredder as well, huh?
Yeah, there was a Shredder.
Sort of a human character.
Yeah, a human character, yeah. Shredder was the bad guy, kind of a ninja with the silver and little hooks and stuff, and yeah.
What was the woman called? Rachel?
Rachel is not...
She was a reporter with sort of a suit dressed in a
that yellow jumpsuit almost.
Yeah.
What's it called? Rachel is not a name I can remember in.
We have
Ninja Turtles.
We need to get a guy who can Google stuff for us.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I got it. April O'Neil.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, when you say it. Yeah.
Yep.
on working for channel what six or something.
Yeah, journalist. Yeah. Yep.
Those were the days when turtles were around.
Yep. Watch a lot of Scooby-Doo those days as well.
Yeah, this is all animals you had a relationship to, but imaginary.
Yep. So both the series that I watched when I was a kid really like fed the totems as well, I think. But in my case, it's not perhaps an animal that you like.
The totem animal?
Yeah. It's not necessarily a totem that you have to like or feel like you have a connection with. The animal totem can still be your messenger that you need.
Right.
Yeah.
So it will present itself to you, and whether you like it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell you something.
Yeah, and it's up to you if you listen or not.
Sure.
And so yeah.
I have such a strong reaction to spiders. It's getting better, but it's still. So I think there's something there, like it's some sort of message for me there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of emotion with spiders. You know, if I get surprised by a spider, I jump 10 meters back. It's insane.
Yeah.
If they're sitting on me and surprising me like that, oh my god.
Is it a sort of level of arachnophobia even, or?
Yeah, I think so. It's totally irrational. Right?
Okay.
Because we don't even have dangerous spiders here. But,
Okay. So.
Yeah.
Is it the movement, sort of unreadable, characteristical movements?
Yeah, it really fills me with this disgust when I see a spider moving, and even if you just see it on the wall with the legs stretched out, that sort of symbol also scares the shit out of me.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I don't know what people find scary with snakes, because they're so nice and no legs at all. And the spiders are so nasty. I don't know. Is there anyone who likes spiders? Do you like spiders?
I would say yes, because I wanted 2 spiders when I was a kid.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Yeah.
But I never got them. I didn't get a snake either. That was too creepy, perhaps, or from my family side. Yeah. But
you mean your family would think that
they refused.
Right.
So I didn't get that.
They held you back there.
Yeah.
But still, even lizards are sort of creepy in a way. I mean, these geckos they're quite fun and
they were more cute. Like they accepted my family accepted the geckos and turtles more.
But when you're abroad, like if you would be in Thailand or Asia, they have geckos, wild geckos, and they live side by side with people.
Yeah.
So they'll have the house gecko sitting up in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. That's so cute. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
But in my case, I have one of my sisters. She's really have a great connection with snakes as well, and she always would like pet snake, or have a close connection with snakes as well. But her boyfriend right now totally refuse. Like he's really have a fear of snakes. So,
right. Yeah. It can be challenging to live with an animal that you really don't like.
Yeah. Exactly. So
you're always wondering if it's still in the terrarium.
Yeah. And one part of me was like encouraging her to just get the snake, like dance around, become this snake manifested woman, belly dance back and forth, And she was just laughing and like, I should totally take the most like horrible snake. I must find the most gruesome snake.
They're also beautiful.
They are. Yeah.
You can't find a horrible snake.
Yeah, but that's what she meant, like. Because it was gruesome to her boyfriend.
The one he dislikes the most.
Yeah, he dislikes. So she was more like reflecting, like
Well, if you're gonna dance with it, you need a boa constrictor or some sort of a very long long snake.
Yeah.
That can hug you.
Yeah. Anaconda.
Yeah, anaconda.
Super big.
Yeah, they live in the what you call it, Amazonas, I think.
Part of the rainforests.
Yeah, and they can be like 10 meters or something,
Yeah.
ridiculously
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, insane.
Mm.
And the amount of crushing force that they have when they hug as well is quite insane. Like,
Yeah.
I watched some sort of episode on Discovery Channel or Animal Planet, I don't remember, but the thing was that the amount of force they could crush was basically they could just like smash logs even, or like totally just grind down bones even in prey, you know.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting. Like, that's a huge force even. Like, anacondas take down alligators even.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because they can wrap themselves around and just push the air out of the animal. It will suffocate, basically.
Yeah. Basically suffocate slowly. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. So when it came to my personal connections with totems, I would say the greatest connection I have is polar bears. And then I have the wolves and ravens at my side as well. But I also have had connections, great connections, and kind of signs, symbols, messages from spiders, butterflies, and stingers.
What's that?
Getingar in Swedish.
Wasp.
Wasps, yeah, wasps. Yeah.
What did a wasp do? Did it sting you?
No, it did not. It was like just flying around me.
Yeah.
In circles, like, and it's first and foremost I've had some sort of connections with wasps before, because I had that sort of like the energy field. Like, if they get too close to comfort, I would just like put down a boundary, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
with your hand or something.
Yeah.
Wave it away.
Yeah, that was my first intention, like, or initial like reaction, but that's when I started realizing that I was negating the message, or like waving away. So after a while, I just let them, you know, come in, like close. It was like uncomfortable and irritating, you know, buzzing right in front of my face, you know.
Yeah.
But after a while, I was just like, okay. Okay.
You dropped your guard.
And then it was just curious for like 5-10 seconds or something, and then just flew away.
Wow, that's interesting. Maybe they stay as long as you're fighting them. They will keep on bugging you.
Exactly. It's like a message or connection have to come through or something. Don't fight it. Just let it land. You know. Let it be. Yeah.
Your fear is that it's gonna sit on your face and sting you somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have a irritating bee or something, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Yeah. So.
It's funny that you mentioned wasps, because they really have a personality of their own, I think. Like they are not in the least afraid of humans.
No.
They're so cheeky.
Yeah.
Like
and they can really like go on like the offense, you know, and like really attack.
Yeah, they can just what do you call it, skydive at you and and I took some macro images of wasps, like in the autumn when they are starting to get cold, they lose their speed.
Yeah.
So they sit on these bad apples feeding, and you can just take these really close-up images of them.
Yeah.
And their faces, they look so incredibly mean, I think. Like, they have this evil, or that's so just incidental. It's not like they're evil, of course, but for me, it's looked like these horrible masks, you know, or something like that. It goes so very well with their sort of behavior.
Yeah, and personality.
For me, and their personality.
Definitely.
That's what I feel, and they're also very aggressive to other.
Yeah.
Like to eat flies and other insects.
Yeah.
So they're very aggressive.
Yeah. but they're like this sort of like built for speed and hunting, you know.
Yeah, warrior sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
attack mode and.
yeah, and they're really like have this mindset of charging straight on the enemy lines, you know. Like
Yeah. Sure, it's
Yeah.
it's a social insect as well. They live in nests and
Yeah.
cooperating together.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So it's like the face. It was funny you mentioned the face, but I also took like macro pictures of a queen wasp.
Oh yeah.
It was huge, and
Yeah, it's a different sort basically, right? Because they have the small and then the bigger one.
yeah, yeah,
Bålgeting maybe.
yeah, but it was huge. So in this case, I noticed like the black and yellow, you know, and the mask itself. Like I was reminded of like really mean, sort of like a stern, mean look.
Yeah, I think so.
But also, I one part of me was more like happy when I looked at it because it was built for speed. It was almost like they had this like speed helmet, almost.
Yeah.
And the lines was more like built for like different channels of speed, like
For the airflow or
for
something.
the airflow. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's more like a, let's see, Evil Knievel type of wasp. Like,
Yeah, but it's you can refer to a car as well because they're
yeah, exactly.
sports car often
Yeah.
look sort of mean in a way.
Yeah, definitely the sports car of the insects.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say that the car is a mean car, I suppose. But
Yeah, that's a good comment actually, because some people do comment cars as, oh, it looks like mean. That's a mean car, you know, or you know, of the sound of the car.
Sure, yeah, you read it into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's interesting also to look at the wasp. Maybe it's built for speed, and obviously it's not an evil insect because it doesn't apply.
No, but I mean the potential of evil is there, and in the potential of evil is in all beings, I feel.
Perhaps, but then you have to judge who does the judging also, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what is a evil?
Yeah, it's a human concept, I think.
Yeah.
So, in the animal kingdom, where the animals are concerned, they don't work with that concept, I think.
No, of course not. It's more like a side of defense and maintaining, and or even like just guarding perhaps, or like so yeah. I'm not sure if another group of insects have the intent of just attacking for attacking's sake, you know.
I don't know. Cruel animals like
crude animals or evil animals. I don't think that sort of like ground concept or a foundational concept of like evil is not does not exist per se from start.
No.
Yeah.
But there are some behavior in the with animals that they do things that they seem to us very cruel. Like it's not just because they're gonna eat the animal; they are playing with it while it's still alive.
Yeah.
Maybe, for example, which seems cruel to us, but who knows why they're doing it? You know. And some animals are like dolphins with really big brains. They're sort of intelligent. They're very intelligent. It's just that it doesn't express itself in the ways that we understand so easily. But there was I saw on Facebook the other day. There was a really beautiful article about there was a human, like a woman, pregnant woman.
Yeah.
And she was gonna give birth in the ocean, like.
Oh yeah.
And this was in a place where there were dolphins, and when it was time for her to give birth, there were dolphins coming and surrounding her, sort of, and they were doing this sort of. They have this sonar where they can send out sounds, so they were like doing these sounds on her, and very interested in what was going on, sort of. Yeah, I thought that was very.
Maybe calming the child almost, or greeting or honoring or like
helping out in some way. I think
yeah.
I got this very positive feeling like that. It's for them. It's so almost a sacred event when there's a birth. Someone is giving birth, even if it's another species. And dolphins are also known to help out people who are they are in the ocean, they have some accident, and the dolphins will support so they don't drown, maybe. Or
yeah, I've heard many stories about like people drowning and waking up on the beach as well, and they don't know what happened because they were,
unconscious.
Unconscious, yeah. And later they meet a dolphin, maybe, or have a connection with that, and maybe that was the dolphin that helped them,
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
But yeah. So we've mentioned a couple of animals now, and it was interesting that you mentioned dolphins, but because dolphins is some sort of a spiritual messenger, and I have a great connection with dolphins as well. What I connect is the symbolism of a joyful, playful life, and seeing that childish aspect of life. The same sort of level of curiosity, I would say, and playfulness as well. And I always honored dolphins, and I even when I was a child, I always would like to swim with dolphins, and connect. So yeah.
Yeah, but because they are interested and they are not really scared or shy, even.
Yeah.
They will. It's easier to have a relationship with an animal that doesn't run away.
Yeah, I like animals who knows how to break the ice and take the first step of connection. I really respect that because it's so hard to do sometimes. And some animals can really sense that, I feel, and just know how to perfectly open the door, to connections with people or other animals, and yeah, sometimes works out perfectly,
Sure.
Yeah.
I think also it has to do a lot with the way you are dealing with animals, because I heard of examples where there's a human living very far from civilization, and this person is an animal lover, and he doesn't kill any animals, and he feeds them instead, and builds this very loving relationship. And then the animals who lives in this area, they will not be afraid even of this man or woman. They will live together like friends, and it's so interesting to me that you can do that.
Yeah.
And because many animals they run away when they see a human. Of course, because they have this experience that humans will kill them or harm them in some way.
Yeah.
It also strikes me that it will be so much easier to communicate with the animals if you have a good relationship, right? It's always like that. If you're like an enemy with someone, you can't communicate very well, even with humans or.
Yeah.
So I haven't tried to communicate with animals like so intently, like the same way I've done with plants.
The connection that I get from both animals and plants so far is more a connection or a relationship, perhaps, that you must take the first step of actually open up, as you said, and being the listener of things, because that is when you really learn things from both the animal kingdom and nature itself. It's not so much of you being the dominant force teaching nature or teaching animals, you know. That's some sort of a other concept of both struggle, misunderstanding, and things that doesn't necessarily work out that great, you know. Because you're a part of nature, just as animals are, I think that it's much more some sort of like opening up, almost destroying our own some sort of society built up mumbo jumbo learned way of being, you know, and throwing that in a trash can and then go back to square one almost, where you are both the listener and you are a growing plant as well. You are, you know, connected with the animals as well. You are connected to everything somehow.
Yeah, maybe when you have certain different layers, like you have your humanity, and then you have the part of you that is an animal, and then you even have a vegetative part. It's more plant, right? Right.
Yeah, it's interesting how you first made the connection here. My friend here, Johan, he made like the human. He had his left hand like above. And when he talked about the animals, he went with the right hand lower. Yeah. And then he went with the plants as lower.
Sure.
Even.
Yeah.
I think that it's much more of a reverse sometimes as well.
Like interesting.
Where the humans are like the foundation, or like even like the lowest part of existence even. Where the animal kingdom are much more higher in consciousness, and the plants, the interconnected nervous system of the whole world even, is above teaching us, you know.
If you want to have a hierarchy of value, then you would,
I don't. That's what I first was talking about here. Like when you made the connections with the hand, you know, it was I saw some sort of hierarchy, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's unconsciously I was giving a hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. But then I feel like there's so many cases where there are none even.
I think in a way you're right, and I think in another way it's also fair to say that like the human consciousness probably is the most highly evolved, or maybe like if you're into consciousness, you and panpsychism, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
There is this theory that even though there is consciousness everywhere, that consciousness is more concentrated in more highly complex biological systems. So, for example, our brain is one of these systems, and therefore it has like more focused, concentrated consciousness than, say, a smaller animal or a plant. But that's just one way of looking at it.
Yeah. Because I had a sort of severe feeling here that just because, let's say, humans realize or are able to see that we, of course, we have gotten this far with our consciousness these days, but what does that mean even if a person says that this is the way, you know, or this is... our consciousness is supreme to other beings. It's like saying like you're the best in something, but maybe it's not really true, you know. You can only see so far. It's like, I think most humans are putting up on their like superior glasses sometimes and believe that they are above or far beyond some other species even. But I think we are unable or incapable of feeling or seeing other higher levels of consciousness because we are locked in our own sort of space or sort of cell of consciousness. So it doesn't go beyond that level. So we're the best down here. We're like the supreme beings of consciousness. And
one way is because we can control the animals and the plants. I think that's one reason that we feel superior.
Yeah, one reason. Yeah. It's interesting because just because you have control over something, that means that you have a superior sort of state of mind over another being or something.
Yeah, but that's also like the master-slave relationship.
Yeah, but it's been so interesting for me because every time I see a sort of master-slave relationship or a symbiosis of some sort, this case being the more extreme connection, I see the opposite. Like the slave, or let's say the Padawan rises above the master, even,
apprentice, teacher.
Yeah. It's interesting how it works, but in this sort of case of what I meant was having people seeing ourselves as supreme beings of consciousness. It's I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, basically, sometimes, because just as you said with connecting with plants, that you have to open yourself up or free yourself from many other things clouding that sort of level of consciousness. That maybe if we go beyond that sort of thinking or the ego state of logic to go inside a more open bubble of things, I think we will see more, feel more, and know more, way beyond our own limits. Today.
Sure. Yeah. Our biggest weakness is also our biggest strength. Like the way we can be, like, conscious of ourselves and conscious of our thoughts, and you can think about yourself, and you can think about that your own death even, and
I think some sort of like mankind has some sort of false pride, being too stubborn or being too prideful, that we say that we're better in some things, or when we're actually not, so
we can be horrible and we can be great, but like we are the only ones who can destroy our planet and our lives here. So it's a big responsibility.
I see so many animals, and I see so many creatures and nature that basically can just stand on the outskirts and just see how these stupid humans destroy themselves, and then life will continue. It's like
that's true. I mean, if humans disappear, it will be a totally different scenario with a balance reinstating itself on the earth. Sure. The planet doesn't need us to go on.
So
but now we're pushing the animals and plants quite badly, right?
We're affecting Mother Nature and all animals around us in many bad ways, I feel. Because like driving here, I noticed like tons and tons of animals being roadkill on the way.
Like badgers, maybe.
We had foxes, badgers, birds. Even, and like I stop my car from time to time and just looking, and I put some animals on the sideway, more on the side, like. And not right in the open,
So the cars. It's a mess when the cars just keep on driving over this.
Exactly.
It's just a pulp of flesh.
So
it's a good thing, to move it.
But it's not. I would certainly not like. I think people would certainly not like to just run over human corpses with the cars back and forth.
No.
So it's like the same thing here, like respecting other beings, I would say. Not I'm trying not to, split up things is like us, we and them, all the time, because as soon as like that sort of mindset, we and them, comes into the picture, it kind of turns out bad real quickly. Because like seeing us is more like some sort of like all beings, like plants, animals, back and forth, and us humans. It's great to have that sort of feeling of us. I feel like a connection, interconnection, which feels more genuine and true. And that's something that totems have really helped me throughout in life. So especially the polar bears, having this dream, immense, clear dream of a huge polar bear rising above me, and just standing there, like looking, gazing down on me. I felt like overwhelmed, and I woke up with, this. My body was shaking, and it was some sort of like respect and so many nice feelings.
Energized, maybe.
Energized, humbled, and.
Sort of a positive wake up there.
Thrilled,
maybe, huh?
Yeah, and some sort of like energy call, so to speak.
Yeah, because you can have so different energies when you wake up from a dream or from sleep.
Yeah.
Like, heavy or bad or energized, positive.
Worried or confused even, or like
terrified.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's time for another break.
Yep, sounds good.
Good.
Yeah.
Like
so
embracing someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Embracing room. Basically, two people hugging.
Yeah. So we're back and we're talking about runes now, just to bring the audience into the discussion.
Yep. It was some sort of a random thought that popped up in my head when we had a break. So we were talking about animism and animal connections as well. And I noticed that the Asatru or Norse mythology, even, or the Norse old language, the rune language, actually have connections with different animals as well. So it's quite interesting. But this rune in particular does not.
It's called manas, and it looks like two people embracing each other.
Yeah.
Or an M, maybe?
Yeah, or more like an old M with some more signs. So yeah, a hug rune, as I said, or rune of the mind. We can use this rune to gain the advantage in disputes and academic examinations.
Oh, that sounds good for me as a student right now.
Seems fitting. Yeah.
Seems very fitting.
Yeah. So I was trying with my intention and feelings and just thinking about my friend Johan here, who actually, after a while, got a rune from me. I was tossing a rune for him, and this came up. And he did the exact same thing on me, and this exact same rune came up.
For you as well.
Yeah. So manas, symbolizes creativity, intelligence, forward planning. So, which reminded me of your own project. If you feel like the project is staggering, or you can't get anywhere else, perhaps you can do some forward planning or working in other ways.
Yeah.
Right,
if I get stopped in my project, it just won't move. Then I can focus on this rune.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's how you use it, like a meditation.
Yeah, it's both a meditational thing. It can give you symbolism, and metaphors for knowledge or helping you during the days. Usually, what happens when I toss runes is that I get a rune that supports me during the day or week, even. So yeah.
Sure. For me, this rune sounds a bit like when we talked about panpsychism and like the consciousness being everywhere. It's somehow it focuses on consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Like the shared human experience.
Yeah, the connection of the minds. Yeah. So forward planning, as I said, but also it supports and works as a speech and implies cooperation between individuals for the common good.
Yeah. Right, people working together, maybe not from greed so much, but from to make things better.
Yeah, or as you said, a higher purpose.
With a higher purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this case, this rune tells the user, or to almost tell the user that destiny awaits you, so claim it. But to be a spiritual being, you must balance body, mind, and spirit.
Mm.
Embrace everything, good and bad alike, with total acceptance, knowing that each new experience will teach more about life. So by learning each lesson, you will go onwards and upwards.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. I mean, sounds true.
Yeah, so there, basically the rune is telling you that there are knowledge from many different sides of the world and sides of life. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Good and bad alike, yeah.
Mm. It's interesting also when we think about doing things with certain purposes, like I'm into this project now with hemp and working with hemp, and I'm balancing this sort of money making a bit greedy side with the other one, which has a higher purpose, of course, like because hemp is good for the environment, and we can make this a better place by growing hemp. So but I also want to make money from it, so it's sort of a balance. And this old men that I'm working with now, they I think they are very much into this higher purpose more than commercial interests, actually. And it's good for me to step back and listen to them. And sometimes I get frustrated because they are moving on so slowly, but I think that the lesson from that is also that well, you need to like check out what is driving you, and balancing out these two sides, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. And I think basically it's nothing wrong to want to make money or to be greedy in a sense, because well, obviously you need to make money to survive in this society. But as with everything, it's when it gets out of hand and it gets too much, then it gets harmful, right? Like when you get too greedy, and
Yeah.
yeah, you start ruining things.
Yeah. So when it came to the symbolism of spirit animals or spirit totems, even spirit totems or animal totems, that is, it doesn't have to be a real animal, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So it can even be dragon, for instance, or some sort of chimera or mythological creature, because it's a mixture of those type of animals, and it's much more profound or deep interconnection between those animals when it comes to a higher state of mind, I would say, or more intuitive ways. But in my case here, I'm gonna read up a little bit about my main, so to speak, or like in my personal case, like the biggest connection that I have with and that is a polar bear.
Right.
Which is quite interesting. So the polar bear tells you to, just as you told me the other week, like maybe it's good, Kristoffer, to take a step back and relax sometimes,
Yeah, you had so much going on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what one of the things that polar bear, the message is trying to tell me as well.
Yeah, maybe because they sleep during the winter or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Hibernation things, yeah. But this time it also says that I should take time to observe situations before choosing a course of action. So to be more observant in life as well. Sometimes I notice I react or perhaps choose my path too quickly without actually knowing what path I took sometimes. So it's a good thing to step back and like
reflect
a bit more, yeah.
It's interesting with these totem animals that sometimes they give messages that you wouldn't expect. Like,
yeah,
why would a polar bear ask you to be more reflective of? I can see these hibernation things. Maybe it's connected to that also. Like,
yeah, because taking time is usually a symbol itself to let other things settle, and you get another perspective from taking a step back sometimes as well. So yeah.
But if your totem animal would be like an ant, for example.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't think that they take a step back because they're constantly working and working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have another message, I suppose.
Yeah, they have another sort of dynamic of pushing through, perhaps championing through small or large causes, perhaps.
Yeah, and a lot of collaboration, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the polar bear also tells to hold steady on the path you have chosen.
Yeah.
And also remind yourself of keeping focus in life as well. Because I can be scattered sometimes, like jumping from one thing to another. And sometimes it's really good to focus my energy on one thing and save my creative juices,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's a white animal and it's very powerful. And I don't know what that means, but just that it's very white, it seems like a big characteristic of polar bears, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, just because right now you like intuitively interpreting the spirit animal here, and it's quite point on, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's correct with what you're reading.
Yeah, because guys, he's not he haven't checked my text here or like the stuff that I'm about to read, but it's fairly spot on, I would say.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So polar bear here's are if a polar bear has come across your path in life or in dreams, the polar bear is reminding you how enormously strong and full of courage you are. He or she has come to help you to stand up to a current challenge in life. No matter how intimidating they are, you will never be overwhelmed. This white bear also reminds you that you can thrive in environments that may be hostile to others.
Right.
So one thing in life that I've gotten a lot of help from in the polar bear here is to remind myself of even the most harsh environments. I can like adapt quite quickly to harsh environments, being social environments or
like
a threatening environment even. Yeah.
Or even in the desert or in the snow and ice.
Yeah. Most likely harsh cold weathers, I would say. I'm more adaptable to.
Yeah.
I was visiting my older brother and my cousin up north, and it was minus 45 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, this is far above the polar circle, right? This is like the north of Sweden, really.
Yeah, super far north. And we were out on this frozen lake, and I I got reminded here of like I was just laying down in the middle of a big frozen lake with fjords and mountain sides around me, out in the middle of nowhere, basically. We had this little hut. It was freezing cold. I haven't even imagined such cold before. And
did you stay in a kota?
Oh yeah.
Traditional Sami
It's
house?
not it's not a traditional Sami house that we had. We had a mobile one
Right.
that was connected to our scooters,
Mm-hmm.
so we can detach the whole wagon and just fold it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it made of wood or skin or something?
Wood and a little bit of both. And what's it called? Like fabric, different layers of fabric as well. This thing was actually not called a kota, or it was called an ark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. An ark, yeah. So
Like
it was quite
an
interesting.
ark in Swedish.
Yeah, an ark, yeah.
Mm.
And in this case, out in the middle of nowhere, in the snow, minus 45 degrees Celsius, and I was just looking up at the sky, and my body was just numb. I felt like, even though I had like 3 layers of clothes, it was so freezing cold that I almost I couldn't feel my feet almost, and my hands as well. And I just looked up toward like this night sky with the stars and Aurora Borealis, you know?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Norrsken, yeah.
Norrsken in Swedish, but auroras in English.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so we had like all these beautiful green, purple, pinkish colors, bluish hues as well, and really beautiful. And I said to myself, like, I can just basically lay down here for a while. I think I lay down there for like 10 minutes or so before I was almost like passing away.
Mm-hmm.
Or sleeping, because I was tired of the journey, you know.
Yeah.
So I can just lay down here for a while. And my cousin and my older brother was starting to set up the ark and everything, and they came back to me like, are you out here alone? Like, are you sleeping here? Like, they were impressed that I could sleep in that cold weather.
Right, yeah.
Because they were inside the ark with warmth and
Sure.
with a fire, you know.
Yeah. Maybe a bit worried almost. Huh?
Yeah, they were. They came out a bit worried. Like, shouldn't you come in now? Like, are you still alive? Almost like. Yeah. But I said like, no, I'm fine. I'm just laying here. Like. Yeah.
You must have a big tolerance for uncomfortable feelings. Like, I mean, you said your hands and feet were cold.
Yeah.
But still you didn't mind so much.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. With our types, it's the opposite here.
Right.
It's
because I would have hated that.
Yeah, you can't stand that.
Yeah.
Like uncomfortable sensory feeling. For me, it's like I thrive in, because my inferior function, like it's super the inner like introverted sensing thing. It's almost like cutting the cord of my sensory system, so I don't register like harmful stuff on my body, perhaps, which is weird sometimes. It's good for threatening situations, of course, but to adapt.
I mean, you can endure longer in tough situations.
Yeah.
But also the risk that you would not notice that you're freezing and you would die from hibernation.
Yeah. Just basically die and not feel a thing.
Yeah, you could have felt asleep and
peacefully.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what happens sometimes.
Yeah. And then the next thing here with the animal totem of polar bears, there's an alternative here as well that which is not profound or more tested, perhaps, or what do you say? But alternatively, this Arctic bear may be here to guide you between. Oh yeah, this is so true in my case. The bear, the Arctic bear or polar bear, is there to guide you between the living world and the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
So it acts as a guide between,
right,
and show you how easily to move between them, to move between the realms.
That's the primal way I would think about totem animals, that they would be helping you to go to the spirit side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't really know the technique, if there is a technique, or like how does it work?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that part.
Yeah, in my case, I haven't practiced animism from a shamanic perspective. I'm very curious to try it out or take even more shamanic lessons, teach from different masters in the future, perhaps.
Yeah, that would be so interesting.
Yeah, especially from my, Sapmi or Sami roots as well.
Yeah.
Because
Sure, it's like in your lineage, in your blood.
Yeah, and that is quite interesting. Like because I can't negate it. I can't just push it away because it comes right back. It swings right back. And reminds me. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to find there, and it still is a living tradition in among the Sami people.
Yeah.
So even if it's maybe, what you say, maybe pushed out in the periphery or the.
Yeah. You told me earlier, Johan, that like if you have been going on and doing all these like materialistic world or society stuff, that you notice that yourself, right? That things come back, the core.
Yeah, what you want to do in life, like it gets back to you. That's true. Yeah.
So the next big thing here is that if, however, it comes to the point where you can connect with a spirit animal and it becomes your animal totem per se. In particular, polar bears means that you know how to use your own power and energy. You are fierce and strong, yet playful at the same time. You know how to pursue what you want deliberately and powerfully. You're not afraid to show aggressive behavior. However, you use it for defensive purposes only, rather than bullying your way through things in life. You're a good provider, and you enjoy responsibility of providing for others. And these points here are pretty much point on when it comes to my life, how I've seen my life from a third perspective. If I look at myself in different scenarios in life, in relationships, and even in being self as well.
By yourself.
Yeah, by myself as well. So yeah.
Right. So you can relate to this description of the animal.
Yeah. Especially like let's say, just take one example, for instance, like aggressive behavior. I'm not afraid of using it or like lash out, but when I do, it's always called for.
Yeah.
So it's like it's never like I can't see a situation in life where I've abused it.
Yeah.
And then the last thing here, which is quite short, is that we have if polar bear has come into your dreams.
Which they have for you.
Yep. For quite some time. So when this beard.
Beard. Dream of beards.
If this bird. If the polar bear comes to your dream, it signifies a reawakening within you.
Sounds good. I mean, you've been away and you come back.
Yeah.
Awakened to. Sounds almost like this where you lose yourself in society and you come back to your inner core again.
Yeah.
Like,
that moment, I felt like my spirituality and the real and the spirit world was lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
Like bridged,
Yeah. In alignment.
Yeah. It's like something happened in my brain as well, because it's like I could feel like both sides communicating better instead of fighting.
Right.
So
interesting. Yeah.
So a little bit, as you talked about, like using both sides.
Of the brain, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Or in different scenarios in life or work or whatever, like in general, yeah.
But it's such a good feeling when you get your purpose back, sort of when you see that. I've been doing this nonsense, and it's not me, and this is instead what I need to focus on.
Yeah, connecting that and carrying on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this aspect of yourself will defy adversity and reflect a fearlessness of never giving in to your problems. And I noticed that lately, because the thing is, when I work with my projects now, and even though during stressful environments, even I feel like I can take a step back and not let it take the best of me, which is great.
You mean when you're working with your project and you get into a tough patch there?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't drag you down, but you can handle it.
Yeah, I use that sort of adversity, reflection, and not let the fear or second guessing take hold of me, and alternatively, the polar bear may also reflect a person in your life that you can depend on to do the right thing. You have the ability to compromise nothing to negativity, because polar bears or Arctic bears in dreams are considered to be good omens, even.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So it's then it's always positive to dream about the polar bear. It's always
it's
positive.
A good omen. Yeah. So polar bears in dreams are often signify an improvement in your life circumstances.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah. So the characteristics of having polar bears and Arctic bears close to your heart is that you're a person of adversity, clarity, communication, death, defense, dreams, emotions, endurance, introspection, mystic and mysticism, navigation, rebirth, resurrection even, revenge, shamanism, solitude, strength, sustenance, transformation, and visionary.
It's a really shamanic animal, this one.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And in my case, it has the other person who is a symbol, or a symbol in life for me, who is that Arctic bear or polar bear in spirit. I think that is actually my father.
Right. Yeah.
From time to time. Which is interesting.
You can connect him with the polar bear.
Yeah.
Sort of,
yeah. And even though my father passed away, like early in life as well, I still have that connection from the spiritual side as well, which is interesting. Because it may also reflect a person in your life, or afterlife in this case, that you can depend on doing the right thing. So basically what I've noticed, like without reading this or without knowing it at first, was that I got some sort of a calm feeling and sort of a reassurance of things in life, guidance, and different messages and symbolisms from it. Really helped me in life. And if you guys are curious, more curious about like animal totems and animals in general, be sure to like look up books, interesting works of writings of shamans, or knowledge about these animal totems. So, in your case, Johan, you said you dreamed about rabbits, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. There's both rabbits and what do you call it, hare. Like
Yeah, hares, yeah.
hare, they are sort of similar, right? But
Yeah.
the hare is more wild. Maybe it's more like long legs, long ears. But
Yeah.
the rabbits are more like small and cute and
Yeah.
fluffy. So with the rabbits, I was sort of like a shepherd for the rabbits in my dream, and this was when I was like a kid. But I had this really nice feeling. I was hanging around with these rabbits, and I was sort of looking after them, and I was in charge of them. And it was a funny dream, positive dream. And with the hare, it's more like I'm not quite sure if this is like a true memory or if it's a dream. But it was. I remember being little and I was playing outside, and there was this hare coming around, and it wasn't afraid of me, so we were sort of playing, me and the hare. You know, when I think about it now, it seems like sort of impossible that this would happen in real life. What do you think? Do you think we could play with a rabbit? Because they're wild animals, so.
Yeah, of course. But I'm not concerned with the thought or logic
Yeah.
that
It's more
it
the
has to be
symbolism.
true.
Yeah.
It's more the symbolism, the connection, the feeling that you had in the dream of having that shared experience or connectivity with the animal.
Yeah, there was for sure a strong connection,
Yeah.
like friendly.
Yeah,
friendship.
even though it's not in reality per se true or logic,
Yeah.
it's still there in the dreams, and it can have meaning, you know.
Sure, but
Yeah.
but let's say this was a true event actually that I
Okay.
remember.
Okay.
Would it still be useful as a totem animal
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they come across in dreams
or in real life? Sort
or
of.
in real life. It's the messenger there, you know.
Yeah, so you don't distinguish between dream and waking, sort of.
So some of the interpretations distinguish between if you have seen them come across in real life compared to dream states or spiritual journeys.
Right.
It depends on what sort of level of consciousness you meet them in. Yeah. But in this case, in my own case, I've noticed I've gained a lot of insight from reality or dream. Like,
Yeah. And also, I think my guess would be that, like, if I dreamt first about the rabbits, and then if I see the hare and the rabbit in real life, I will be reminded, sort of, yeah, this is my totem animal.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
now it's giving me a message here.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
are you curious to hear what sort of characteristics and strengths the rabbit have?
Let's go.
Yeah. So, here we go. With the rabbits, the symbolism of rabbits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the rabbits.
Yeah, I know you like symbolism as well.
Yeah.
So, the rabbit is telling you to listen carefully to what is going on in your environment so you can accurately use your intuition to make the changes you need to.
To listen carefully to what's going on
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
In order to make the changes you need to.
Right.
So, listen carefully, take it into your intuition, and perhaps make it seep a bit, or, you know. And then perhaps the answers do come, you know.
That would be to see what's really there, sort of, instead of imagine what's there, or sort of. You see what I mean?
I think the imagining can also help structure your reality.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, if you're not seeing what's there really, like if you're imagining,
Yeah, if you're blind to it, it's going to be a problem, right?
this could be a problem.
Yeah. So light up the dark path, basically. The rabbit is also telling you that anything you start right now will move forward in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, so it's what will that mean in real life then? Like
So, if you're starting a project or starting different things that you are burning for right now, having passion for, and like high interest in and focus on, it's going to move on forward in leaps and bounds as just the rabbit jumps,
yeah, my thought
it's going
then,
to take you forward.
yeah, it's gonna come in one big chunk, like the success or failure, but I hope success.
Yeah.
All right, so it would be sudden things happening.
Yeah.
Nothing happening, and then suddenly,
Yeah.
big thing.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then the rabbit has some here are some interesting meanings and messages. In general, the rabbit symbolism reminds us to examine and use the tools we have within ourselves, even though our instincts are inherent. They are also need nurturing and development.
Our instincts need.
Yes. Furthermore, rabbit meaning deals with primarily with abundance, comfort,
Nice.
and vulnerability. The hare also embraces gifts of fertility, sentiment, desire, and procreation. And not in my case as in procrastination instead.
Yeah. I can see that they are very good at reproducing. So.
Yep. So, in other words, you have an abundance of creativity right at your disposal, from your intuition, your huge inner intuition. Use that, and now you should make good use of it. Furthermore, it signals that a windfall of abundance is imminent.
Oh wow, I like that. This is so positive. It's amazing.
Yep. And then we have alternative meaning here also, and to give some perspective. And
I hope it's good.
Yeah, there's also good and bad to every stuff, but anyway, you decide.
Yeah.
And what to use of it. So the rabbit symbolism may also indicate a need for more planning.
Not just running around like a stupid hare.
Yeah. You should also check the plans that you're already set in motion.
Check them.
Check them. Like double check.
Double check them.
Yeah, and look over it. Moreover, do not box yourself in a corner.
Box that like.
Do not box yourself into a corner.
Yeah. I need to have many ways to getting out of something.
Yeah.
Right.
Whenever the bunny or rabbit makes an appearance, be aware that you may also need to examine the foods you eat.
The food.
Perhaps a vegetarian or vegan diet
is
to
good.
Build a strengthening and healthy life. And you have actually started with vegetarian and veganism a bit, right?
Yeah, I've been sort of forced almost to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's another story.
Yeah, because it does help you to strengthen and heal from the inside.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I love vegetarian diets. Yeah.
Interesting. So the rabbit and hare promotes good diets as well. Yeah.
It's very specific also.
Yeah. Interesting. So the rabbit is distantly related to rodents like rat, mouse, porcupine, beavers, prairie dogs, and groundhogs and squirrels even. So if the rabbit is your spirit animal totem, people and persons with the rabbit totem are often unpredictable and spontaneous. They also have a fast reflexes and good coordination. People with this spirit animal are highly observational and alert, gentle and nurturing, as well as intelligent and quick-witted.
Right.
Furthermore, bunny and hare people are quick to succeed and are highly skilled at success if they focus on towards that.
Yeah.
They are also generous in advising those around them.
Yeah.
Folks with this power animal, folks with this animal's powers, the essence of it, can instinctively sense what paths that lead to danger, and which roads leads to success and safety.
Right.
And the last bit here about rabbits says that if a rabbit has come into your dream, we have an example of a dream interpretation here.
Mm.
To see this animal in your dream signifies luck, magical power, and success. You have both. You have a positive outlook on life. Alternatively, bunny symbolizes abundance, warmth, fertility, and sexual activity. In particular here, to have a white rabbit in your dream symbolizes faithfulness in love.
Mm-hmm.
The white hare also serves as a guide to steer you toward the right direction in life.
Yeah. I feel a lot of connection with this description of the hare.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm wondering about this. This would be an animal that will follow you throughout life, or is it changing, or what?
No, it's
How does it work?
the core of a spirit animal totem. If you feel like, oh, wow, this is my core, like it will come, it will stay through life.
Mm.
But it chooses when to appear as well, when you need it, you know. Or if you call for it.
Yeah. I think one test of this being the true totem animal would be like, I imagine when you read this description and you feel a connection and like you can relate to this.
Yeah.
Then it's probably a true totem animal. Right?
Yeah. But also, if you read this, perhaps your mind and heart is being more open now towards seeing those signs and symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I come to think of it now, there's a lot of hares I see here where I live. They're running over the...
Oh, interesting. So you have many around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every other day I see them running around.
Yeah.
It makes me feel very good.
Yeah. So here, to see a black hare in your dreams, your visions refers to a fear of intimacy.
Uh-huh.
So if black hares or black rabbits come across you, it can be referred to many of your anxieties or fears in life of being close or intimate.
Yeah.
If the hare is hopping in your dream, then it indicates fertility. In other words, children will surround you if you see hopping hares.
Right, then I know it's gonna be a big family. Huh?
Yeah. Alternatively, the vision may be related to your lack of commitment and how you jump from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
If you dream that the bunny scratches or bites you even, then it means that you need to pay more attention to your relationship or love life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you have a few characteristic words and that comes with a rabbit or hare here. Associational words. And the rabbit or hare totem stands for action, artistry, contradiction, fear, fertility, guile. I don't know what that means.
Some sort of happiness, I think, or jolly, happy.
Okay.
I guess.
Humility. Yeah. Instinct. Intuition. Motion and movement. Opportunities. Paradox. Planning. Play. Possibilities. Sensitivities. Speed. Strength. of the thought and work. So there you have it.
Ah, interesting. I feel like now when I haven't been so much into this way of thinking, but now I feel like I like to have some sort of rabbit symbol with me, like to remind me. So
yeah.
I know some people have this this paw over hair. You say that like that?
Yep.
Paw over hair.
Yeah.
It's for good luck.
But
it's a bit bizarre, I guess. Like it's not for a vegan. Huh?
Yeah, maybe not. But
maybe some crafted rabbit you could have.
Yeah. Or I think like in the old ways, shamans, like let's say hair shaman, for instance, they would have talismans, of the real animal. Because I think like it resides some sort of energy with that, Like even though it's real, even though you're vegan, perhaps maybe it was an animal that you didn't kill, but that you preserved instead. To carry through in life.
Maybe you found a dead hair and you could use it.
Yeah. Or if you feel like that side of you is okay with that, like that the animal, if the animal is killed, that it at least should not go to waste.
Yeah, well, some sort of symbol. I like to have things, as you see with this one. I have a, what you call it, a clip for laundry.
Oh yeah.
I like to have things to fidget around with, like.
Oh yeah. It reminds me of the mad rabbit in Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
That crazy little funny rabbit. He was always fiddling with stuff and.
Yeah, it's a very nervous rabbit. That one.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's very obsessed with time as well, I think.
Obsessed with time, yeah.
It's a big
like,
clock.
Yeah,
and, oh, it's late, I gotta run.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta do things now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, that reminds me a lot of, if you have your own projects, yeah, I gotta do this, and like, do that, and like, the time is now.
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually quite obsessed with time, and, I feel horrible if I'm not on time.
Yeah.
It's really bad for me.
Yeah, exactly like the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland as well, like taking time always,
Yeah, I actually do that with my clock, for everything. I'm the what you call it, the white rabbit.
Yeah.
You follow down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
See what happens.
Yeah. I'm glad we figured that out.
Yeah.
So your spirit animal perhaps is the hare.
Yeah.
Rabbit. Yeah.
We have the hare and we have the polar bear, and this is very enlightening.
Yeah. And of course I had many more tabs of, raven and wolf and everything like that, but it would take ages for the podcast. It would take, come back next week.
Yeah, maybe we will get back to this subject over and over.
Yeah, maybe. So
who knows?
We can take up some sort of animal totems of the day, perhaps. Oh, today I dreamed about this, Or,
sure, if it comes up, of course. Yeah, it would be very appropriate.
Yep. So then guys. So that's it for me for when it comes to animal totems today, I feel. You, as a new kind of tester here, what would you say about the rabbit or hare more? Did you feel like a connection there?
Well, my first reflection is that a lot of the, what do you call it?
The symbolisms or like the...
the symbolisms and egenskaper, what's that? Like, like the rabbit would symbolize like the speed.
And the skills, or as you say, or...
Yeah, I could relate to the things that the hare represented, you could say.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way. And,
interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So that made me feel like there's something to it, maybe, like, and also because I haven't been thinking so much about this, but if I take it seriously, like now, it feels good and interesting, and something I would like to pursue.
Yeah, because if now that you have your drum here, shamanic drum, perhaps you will develop and really call for your own totem as well, and maybe that will give you some sort of wisdom or guidance if you feel lost someday, you know, or if you need it, you know.
Yeah, this could be one way of drumming with a shamanic drum, and like sort of maybe some openness to see what if the rabbit will come and manifest somehow, or yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, so well, I guess we have to quit for today, and thank you for listening as usual.
Yeah, thank you guys. And until next time, cheers and bye for now.
Yeah, bye bye.